Good day to you. Welcome to the food sensitivity topic. Today we are going to see how the food is affecting us and what are the important precautions we need to use. Food, yes, food is affecting us. Now let's read first some verses which will give us encouragement. Proverbs 13:25 says, "The righteous eateth for the satisfying of his soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want." Now you may have experienced that when going to the table to eat, you eat one thing, another, and at the end you still feel that you want to eat more, and you don't know why. Satisfaction in the food, we have talked about it in the topic of basics of nutrition, 1, gastrointestinal health. And it is important to remember that God wants us to be satisfied. Please see it in the verse. Proverbs 13:25 says, "The righteous eateth for the satisfying of his soul." God doesn't want you to be unsatisfied. He wants you to sit on the table and say, "Oh, I enjoy this meal." He does not want you to sit on the table and say, "Oh, I enjoy this ice cream." No way. That's not what God wants us to do. But what you eat, whatever you eat, God wants you to be satisfied in His will, what is pleasing to Him. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, "Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God." Now the point is that today there are some things that are happening in our bodies that we don't understand. Example, if you are eating beans and there is a foul smell coming out the bag after the eating of the beans, there is a problem in your system. But why? Beans will harm me. Why did God make beans then if they are going to harm me? You may ask yourself. Well, yes, God made the beans, but not for harming you. And you may be given that foul smell, not because God made the beans, but because your body is not doing well. Well, God maybe made me wrong. No, God did not make you wrong. We have done some things that are wrong. Our parents have done some things that are wrong. And the people that are planting beans have been doing things that are wrong. Is the same agriculture that is followed today the same agriculture that was given by Jesus Himself to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden? No way. When we cover the topic of GMO food, you will see how many different things are going on in the world regarding agriculture today. Are those things affecting us? Oh yes. Let's talk about preservation of food. Even when we talk about gastrointestinal health, you remember we talk about the issues of chemicals in the food that we eat, and I gave you some examples. Now I talk about beans because there are some examples of it even in the time of our prophet Ellen G. White, and she herself had issues with beans. Oh yes, yes. Let's see it. Counsels to the Church, page 222, paragraph 3, says, "If we plan wisely, that which is most conducive to health can be secure in almost every land. The various preparation of rice, wheat, corn, and oats are sent abroad everywhere. Also beans, peas, and lentils. This, with native or imported fruits, and the variety of vegetables that grow in each locality, give an opportunity to select a dietary that is complete without the use of flesh meats." So what we read in this paragraph is, whenever you go to the Philippines, doctor would say, don't worry about food. God will provide what you need. You don't have to eat fish. You don't have to eat meat. You can follow your vegetarian diet that you have been following for many years, since 1994. Because in the Philippines, there will be all the nutrients that you need. all the elements that you need. Oh yes, yes, look at this. It says there is rice, wheat, corn, oats, that people bring either from the local or imported. These, with native or imported fruits and variety of vegetables grown in each locality, give an opportunity to select a dietary that is complete without the use of flesh meat. So I step in faith, coming to the Philippines, believing in God. My family and I will receive what we need. Okay. Now I bring this because beans is in the list. Now you may have heard, you may even believe what I have been hearing sometimes here in the Philippines, that beans cause rheumatism. That's not true. Rheumatism does not come from beans. I eat beans, and I have been eating beans for many years. I do definitely have developed some sensitivity to some beans sometimes before, but not because the beans are damaging. I will explain to you more about it so you can see. It is not the beans who is the problem. It is my body and my practices. So beans are part of the diet that God wants for you. Let me be honest with you. In February, I went to the Bellevue Hotel for the Lifestyle Medicine Convention. The Asian Society of Lifestyle Medicine had a convention there. And it was very interesting. But one of the days, I think it was almost the last day, I think, one of the Filipino doctors, of course, I knew the question was coming because I heard her talking about it. And she asked one of the US presenters who was talking about, I think he was talking about reversing diabetes. But she asked the question about the beans because he was saying that beans are very good for diabetic patients. Especially for the morning time, breakfast time. And then she said, but doc, we here in the Philippines believe that beans cause rheumatism. And then his answer was, and this is a Filipino doctor, you know. She said, and then the US doctor said, answering the question, that is not true. That has no basis whatsoever. That cannot be. That was his answer. So, please, don't believe those things anymore. That is not true. Now, people can have sensitivity to mungo, for example, but that doesn't mean beans cause rheumatism. Sensitivity to food and rheumatism is not the same. It could be related sometimes, but it's not the same. And when I talk about rheumatism later, maybe you will understand why rheumatism comes. But beans is part of our diet. God gave us that diet, so it's clear presented in this paragraph. Now, if we go to Consensus on Diets and Food, page 491, it says here, one person cannot be a criterion for another in the matter of eating. Huh? What is that? Yes, I cannot determine how much somebody should eat or another person should eat, or how much I should eat in difference to somebody else. You cannot be the measuring cup of some other people. There is no one measurement for everybody. And beside that, you cannot say, you eat this because I eat it. No. There may be situations when somebody cannot eat something that somebody else can eat. You cannot tell me, eat this because I eat it. No. For example, you may say, eat this soup with mushrooms because I eat it. And I will say, sorry, but I cannot eat mushroom soups. I cannot eat mushroom seasonings. I don't recommend it either. It is not food. But you cannot force me to eat it. It gives me pains, inflames my joints. I cannot eat it. How can you force me to eat something is not good for my health? Or even in my home, I know the sensitivity of my wife, my children, and myself. I cannot force my son to eat something that he cannot eat. It should not be done. One person cannot be a criterion for another in the matter of eating. It is impossible to make one rule for all to follow. There are those in my family who are very fond of beans. They like beans. This is Ellen G. White, the prophet in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. There are those in my family who are very fond of beans, while to me, beans are poison. Poison. But somebody else is eating it in her own home. Yes, her husband maybe was eating it, but she could not eat beans. They were poison. Why does she say poison? Maybe she was having some sensitivity to it. No question about it. I understand that now. So we need to be careful with this situation. Let me read you another one. In Consensus on Diets and Food 198. Foods that are palatable and wholesome to one person may be distasteful, and even harmful to another. You know that I even see that in animals. When I had 3 cats feeding them, I saw one day that one cat will come and eat the food, and the other one will come and will not eat. And I tried several times, because maybe he ate something and he doesn't want it. Maybe he's full. No. He is hungry. I know he's looking for food, and I put it in the plate and he will not eat it. He doesn't like it. Maybe his taste is different. Now, I'm not saying that we need to teach our children to be murmuring about food. That is different. But there are some items of food that may be not so tasteful for somebody that will be more tasty for others. That, I repeat, is not a license to allow your children to eat whatever they want. No. God plainly have said, never allow your children to dictate what they will eat. You parents must be the one saying, you eat this because this is what you need, and this is what God has given you as a gift from heaven. But if you know your children will be harmed by eating the mungo bean, don't give mungo bean to that child. If your second child is able to eat mungo bean, then you give the mungo bean to the second child, not to the number one. Some persons cannot digest peas and beans. Some cannot use milk, while others thrive on it. Others find the beans, wholesome. For some, the coarse grains preparation are good food, while others cannot use them. Maybe they have a sensitivity to a grain. Everybody is different. I cannot say that peanuts is harmful to everybody. No, but I know some people that if they eat peanuts, they will have rashes and even tinea corporis, which is a fungus in the skin, because of eating peanuts. So, what is food sensitivity? What is food allergy? What is food intolerance? So, if we want to clarify those terms, we will have to study a little bit. Allergy, sensitivity, intolerance. Intolerance, basically, we will say it is when you cannot tolerate. You eat it, but your body cannot handle it. Cannot do the digestion properly. That's what we mean by intolerance. When we say allergy, means your immune system is going to attack that. And many people, when they say allergies, may think about this experience of, oh, I cannot breathe because my throat is inflamed and I have to go to the hospital, because that's what people sometimes think. In reality, if we say it this way, we have to explain about the immunoglobulin so we can really understand. Immunoglobulins, as you see in the graphic now, immunoglobulins G, for example, have a shape of a Y. They have 2 arms, we will say, and 2 chains, the small chains and the long chains, heavy chain. And they attach to the receptors of antigens so they can recognize them. There are several kinds of immunoglobulins. How many? Basically 5. And it's easy to remember if you want to study a little bit of your body. Not difficult to memorize it because it's in letters. Immunoglobulin G, immunoglobulin A, M, E, and D. So the way to remember how I explain it is game D. If you remember game D, you cannot forget it. G is one of the most important immunoglobulins in our body because it's the one that stay longer when there is an immune reaction. Your immune system? Yes. If food comes to your system in your blood, if the nutrients from the papaya, from the rice, from the whatever, come into the system, specifically the proteins of the things that you eat, because the carbohydrates and lipids and molecules like minerals and vitamins will not react to the body, to the immune system, but the proteins will do. When the proteins of these elements that we eat go into the bloodstream, when they are digested and absorbed, and the blood immune system will recognize them as something wrong, the immunoglobulins will come up to react against them, and the immunoglobulins G remain for a little while. If you think about the other ones, the immunoglobulins M, they react to certain diseases, certain viruses and bacteria, but they are not lasting long. They do not stay in the blood for a long period of time. Therefore, if I want to have a laboratory to test if there is an immune reaction towards my food, for example, or a virus, and I am doing it for a long period of time, maybe 2 months later, 3 months later, from the reaction of the food, I will not see anything if it's an immunoglobulin M, because immunoglobulin M will go away. So if we think about reactions to food, it will be nice to see an immunoglobulin G reaction and a test. If we think about immunoglobulins E and immunoglobulins G, these are the two main immune reactions that we have to the environment and the food. Now, we normally say that reaction that you have, the closing of the throat and you have to go to the hospital because you cannot breathe anymore and you're going to die, normally happens few minutes after you eat maybe a strawberry or maybe a peanut, or maybe you smell the flower and it starts to itch and the whole body maybe itch and sweating and you go to the hospital because you may die. That is normally a reaction that we call IgE, meaning is mediated by immunoglobulins E, not by immunoglobulins G. So, the immunoglobulins hook into the receptors and recognize. What is a protein? Protein is a substance found in food such as meat, milk, eggs, and beans that is an important part of the human diet. Now, that definition is not complete because we know that even sweet potato has proteins and apples have protein. As you may have remembered the list of protein content in food, 26 pages document from the agricultural department that I recommended you to have on hand when talking about the amount of protein we eat in our diet to prevent osteoporosis and kidney failure. We know that protein is found in mostly everything. In conclusion, we may react to any item of food. Anything. So, for example, in the United States, when I was doing my trainings there, I went to Seal, Alabama, and there was a laboratory that we used to use from Florida. It's called Immunolab. Very good laboratory. We liked it because it was very reliable. And they have this food sensitivity test called the Bloodprint-1. It's an IgG immunoglobulin G testing towards food. and they have it for vegetarians and non-vegetarians. Now, I like the non-vegetarian testing, even though the vegetarian is what I normally have for most of my cases, but the non-vegetarian included more items than the vegetarian item. There was actually one item, blueberries, that was not in the vegetarian testing. I never asked them why, but it was not present. So I will normally recommend the non-vegetarian testing, even though it has the flesh, when somebody may not need the test for flesh because they are vegetarian. But nevertheless, it will cover everybody. So I will use the non-vegetarian testing. And it was fairly costly, is this testing in the United States, but it was very good for the treating, in diagnosing some of the diseases that people have. So I recommended many of my colleagues to use it. I did the testing for 4 of us in my family, so I will know what were the sensitivities or allergies, you may call it however, because they are affecting our bodies. And normally what they will do, we will get the blood from the patient, do the centrifuge, and then get the serum and send the serum to Florida. And in 1 hour FedEx system, it will reach Florida in a cold environment, frozen containers. And then they will do the testing, and almost in 2 weeks, they will have the result. They will have a platform, as you can see here, what they call testing plates. And then they will skirt into them with these special machines the elements that they use for testing each part of the blood. So they put serum in all of them, the 114, and then they will skirt these 114, mango, calabaza, all the proteins from them. And if the food will make your blood react, they will know that there is an immune reaction related to the immunoglobulins G. They will have their way of measuring this, as you can see the plates. And there will be some symptoms also that will give us idea that somebody is reacting to this food. At the end of the testing, there will be a list of all the food items tested, the 114, the list of those that you reacted, and there will be a plus, 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 3 plus, 2 plus, 4 plus if it's higher reaction, or 1 plus if it's less. And there will be a list of the ones that are not so reacting, or they are not reacting at all. Meaning, when the test comes to you, you must avoid the ones that you are reacting, and you may use the ones that you are not reacting. So they will give you actually a list of the things you could eat by menu every day for several weeks, giving you options on what to do to avoid those items of food. Basically, just remind you of the things that you have available, that you don't have to rely on the things that you are not reacting well. Now, what are the symptoms of an immunoglobulin G reaction? Immunoglobulin G reaction are not life-threatening. You don't go to the hospital saying, oh, my throat is blocked and I cannot breathe. No. There are some reactions that are not so good, but they definitely will not keep you in a life-threatening situation most of the time. For example, in the digestive tract, sometimes people have diarrhea, and it's related to a food sensitivity, not only intolerance. We're talking about sensitivity. For example, there are some people that eat milk and they cannot digest it because they don't have the enzymes, the system to do it. And they will have diarrhea because they have what we call milk intolerance. As I said before, intolerance is you cannot handle it, you cannot digest it, you cannot work with it. That's an intolerance. We are talking about immunoglobulin G immune reaction. Your body attacks the nutrients when it is inside, absorbed, digested after digestion. Sometimes you may have diarrhea, you may have constipation, bloated feelings, belching, burping, passing gas, smell is bad, stomach pain. You may have ear problems like itchy ears, ear aches, ear infections. You may have drainage from the ears, ringing in the ears, maybe hearing loss, and it may be related to an immune reaction to the food. What about the emotions? You can have mood swings, anxiety, fear, irritability, anger. Of course, we are not talking about a child being fearful because you have taught him to be fearful when he's in the dark. Or maybe depression. Depression may come from other reasons, even from not handling an experience with a death of a husband or a father or something like that. Aggressiveness, nervousness. What about energy and activity? You may feel fatigue, sluggishness. You may have apathy, hyperactivity, restlessness. All that could be related to immune reactions to food. What about the eyes? Watery eyes, itchy eyes, swollen eyelids, sticky eyelids, dark circles, blur vision. What about weight? Binge eating, cravings, excessive weight, compulsive eating, water retention, underweight. Joint and muscles, pain in the joints, arthritis, stiffness, limited movement, aches and muscles, feeling of weakness. Of course, as I said before, the cause of rheumatism is not the beans. But if you have an immune reaction to one of the beans, you may have some pain in the joints because the immune system is reacting to the bean, not because the bean caused rheumatism. This is different. Mouth and throat, chronic coughing, gagging, often clear the throat, sore throat, swollen tongue and lips, canker sores. Nose, stuffy nose, sinus problems, hay fever, sneezing attacks, excessive mucus, headaches, faintness, dizziness, stuffy nose, I covered that, insomnia, skin, acne, hives, rashes, hair loss, flushing, hot flashes, excessive sweating, lungs, chest congestion, asthma, bronchitis, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing. In the mind, poor memory, confusion, poor concentration, stuttering, stammering, learning disabilities, irregular heartbeat, rapid heartbeat, chest pains, frequent illness, frequent urination, genital itch. All those are in the list of this laboratory for the identification of possible immunoglobulin G reaction. According to the laboratory in Florida, Immunolab, 95% of the population have immune reactions to food. When I discovered that, and I was studying more about their articles, I went into research myself because I want to learn more. And I discovered that in reality, it is almost everybody has food sensitivity. How do I know that? I confirmed that with experience. For all my patients, all that I did the testing about food sensitivity, I kept all their files in my records for me to study these issues. And I can tell you, I never, and I did recommend this test for many of my clients, many of my patients. And even though it was expensive, definitely, even though I myself paid for it, of course mine was cheaper because I was working with them, so they gave me a better price. But the idea is that even though it was a little expensive, I knew it was worthy to do it. It is very important. Now you can do it with other ways, but they are more difficult, especially the elimination diet. They are more difficult. The testing is easier. It's just get the blood and do it. You know which one. So I did it for my family, my wife, my Kevin, my Kayla, and myself. And all my patients, there is none that came with zero reactions to food. No. Everybody reacted to some items of food, no matter what. And guess what? When they will avoid those items of food, they will get better. Many of the symptoms will disappear and they will heal. If you see that, what can we conclude? That is true what they are saying. Experience talks more than books. So, the lowest sensitivity in food for my patients was 13 items of food. The lowest. From then, all my patients have more than 13 allergies or reactions to food. And the highest, the patient that brought more reactions to food than anybody else was 39 items in the list of the 114. Now remember, those 114 is just a short list because we don't eat only 114 items of food, we eat more things. And besides that, there are things in the list of the United States that are not listed in the Philippines. For example, they do not test for ubi. Therefore, there are some items of food that people may be reacting and are not in the list. But at least what we consider the most common ones, the 114 in the US, and they tested for them, the highest that came to my patients was 39. As a matter of fact, this was the case that I told you previously, that I went to the room because she was almost not responding, lethargic or whatever. And then by giving the charcoal, 1 cup of water with charcoal, 15 minutes, she was up and about, walking around, wanting to go for a walk. Definitely, when you have food sensitivity, one of the best things to do is have charcoal on hand. I had a student right there at Yuchipan, vegetarian, huh? And she will come to class at 8 o'clock after breakfast. And she will be like this. She will not be able to concentrate and pay attention to what I'm saying because she was so heavily, deeply into a very weakening sleep that people will call her, hey, and she will not be able to open her eyes. This is one of the symptoms of food intolerance. After 30 minutes, whoop, she's up and about again. Because during the time of the half an hour after eating a meal, if your body is reacting immunologically to it, they will have a fight so big that you cannot go up and stand. There are some people that even their blood pressure drops down when they eat those items. Example, somebody may say, I eat calabaza today, and they go like this. After 30 minutes, then they feel better. Some people actually stay longer, hours, and they cannot wake up. Very weak, inability to do the work and perform because the immune system is using the energy to attack these items that are recognized as wrong. Now you may say, but dog, this is not the food that God created for us. No, that's not the point. The point is that there may be some chemicals in those food that are not right. There may be some of these plants or maybe these items of food that are not the same. They are not the same plants that God gave us. Do you know that 95% of the soybean in the world, mainly almost all soy products that you have in the market, are GMO soybean, meaning they have changed their engineering genetically and they don't have the same content that God made when He made it for Adam and Eve. Almost there is no soybean in the world that can be used, almost none. You better look for native soybean and the ones that have the little black eye, and even the soybean native that is black completely. It's a soybean, but it's black. But don't think about using that soybean that is all beige, because the most common soybean that is 95%, which is the 95%, is GMO. If you are using tofu made of GMO soy, wait when I recommend you watching the video about Dr. Russell Blaylock and the GMO food. the effect that soybean is causing, especially in men. Whoa, you will open your eyes very big. I do not give soybeans, soy tofu, soy anything to my children, especially my two boys. We may talk more about that another time. So finally the point is, God gave us a plan. He gave us a plan from the beginning, many times, many years ago. Go to the country, get a portion of land, and plant the food that you eat. If we follow God's plan, we will be able to do it. Imagine, corn is 75% GMO in the world today. Wheat, there is a controversy about that, but I have heard some in research that says that even 100% of the wheat is already GMO. Some others say there is no wheat that is GMO. I don't think I can believe that. But the idea is Satan is pushing the people to change the agriculture, to change the genes, to change the food that we eat, and affecting our lives, our health, because we keep eating the same thing. People are changing. What about yellow corn? Whoa, most of the yellow corn is GMO. GMO, BT corn, whatever, Japanese corn, sweet corn, yellow, most of it is GMO and is causing infertility in the cows, for example. What is this causing in our bodies? Cancers and other things? Sorry, but I cannot eat yellow corn when I know it is harming animals and people, and think presumptuously that I will be okay. So please, if you offer to me, remember, I will not eat it. And don't feel bad. It's my decision. I know the truth. Then, if you know that you have food sensitivity and you have to avoid these items, then you make your plan. Now, let me be honest with you. Whenever you have a food sensitivity, you discover it is a true thing. Now, you may react to the protein of the, example, an apple or a corn. You may react to that, or you may react to the chemicals into that product. Now, let me give you the testimony of my son, Cadmiel. When I was in the United States, we gave him bananas one time. My queen gave bananas to Cadmiel. He was small. And then he started being inflamed and cranky. And then my queen said, "Oh, I don't know why that is." And she asked me, "What should we do?" I was remembering my patients with depression, so I said, "We will eliminate bananas for Cadmiel. No bananas for Cadmiel anymore. We'll see what happens." So we eliminated the bananas, and no more bloatiness, no more cranky crying reactions when talking to mama. Then one day, when we were buying organic food for the home, we bought organic bananas. Of course, I went to do groceries, I bought the bananas, and then I said to my queen, "Let's give him some bananas, organic, and see what happened." A few months later, I think. So he ate the bananas and no problems, no bloatiness and no crankiness, no crying. So we said there is something different about this banana and that banana. Simple experiment. So we continued giving him organic bananas and he had no problem. So why a reaction to bananas on one point, no reactions in another banana in another point? Is it the variety? No, it's the same variety. What is the difference? Organic. What is the difference? The chemicals, most likely. So for me, it's clear that Cadmiel was not reacting to the banana protein itself. He was reacting to the chemicals in the banana. And when we changed the chemicals, eliminated the chemicals, no problem. He had no problem. Therefore, we know that he was sensitive to the banana's chemicals. When we came to the Philippines in 2013, January 2nd, then we gave him bananas from here, from the Philippines, and he had no problem. Oh, very good. Now Cadmiel can eat banana. But then One day, I bought bananas from the market, and he had the bloatiness and the cranky crying experience. Then we decided to eliminate it again and then investigate what was going on. So I researched and I asked people about it, and then they said, oh, there is calburo in those bananas because it's the market in the city. Oh, they put the bananas in calburo deeper into this liquid overnight, and then they sell it next day. That is already ripe, yellow supposedly. But it's not really ripe. It's yellow on the outside, but it's not ripe inside. So it's a bad thing. You're actually lying to people. Anyhow, just for selling? Oh. The point is, we were careful with that. We will avoid calburo banana, and that's what we do even up to today. Then let me tell you more. Another day, we were looking for no calburo banana, no calburo, no calburo, no calburo, no calburo. Then one day, somebody said, no calburo, okay. We gave it to him, and he reacted. But there was no calburo. So what happened? No calburo, but there was ethyl. Ethyl, yes, another chemical that people use for ripening bananas here in the Philippines. But he reacted. So I can tell you, calburo and ethyl are not the good thing. So we eliminated calburo and ethyl. So we have to ask, has calburo, has ethyl? If it does, we don't buy it. And I have refused buying sometimes because they have calburo or ethyl. Even the mangoes, most of the mangoes that are sold in the Philippines have calburo. Most of them, except the Indian mangoes. I don't know if somebody does, but Indian mangoes in regularity, they don't have calburo. But I can tell you, I've been 5 years in the Philippines already. I've been a blessing, but there are things that we have to learn. And we have to see how are we going to go around those problems. Give you another example. My queen also had reaction to banana, and that was tested in the test. As I told you, I did not do the test for Carmiel, the small one, when I was in the US. But I did the testing for my queen, and she was sensitive to banana. But we knew it. We kind of knew it, kind of sensed it that it was bananas. And she will have this reaction when bananas. She will bloat right away. You can actually see it. If I will see the abdomen of my queen at the moment she was having the meal, and she will eat the banana, the stomach will go, the abdomen will go, wow. Then she will have more irritability. And then she will be falling asleep sometimes, very tiring for some period of time. Not long, but period of time. So we knew, she cut it off, and no problem. She was more energetic, and she was having no irritability, and no bloatiness. 3 months, she avoided the bananas, as the testing laboratory recommended. 3 months, you don't eat these things. Actually, my queen had, I think, 21 or 23 food items, immunoglobulin G reactions. So she avoided those things, and in those 3 months, she was doing great, better. So we knew. Now let me give you my own experience. When I did the testing, I was reacting to corn, but let me tell you the story. Very many weeks before, I had already sensed that I had an issue on my toe. I will kneel down for prayer, and I will have a discomfort on my toe, on my left foot. I think it was on my left foot. And then I will, something is there, but it was not really pain. It's just a discomfort when I will kneel down, nothing else. I will walk and do anything, jump, work and do anything. But I will not have problem only when I will kneel and bend my toe. Because you know, when you kneel, you bend your toe. So I said, I need to find what is it. Maybe something in the food. Of course, I knew about the testing already. I had some ideas. I was studying about it. So I kind of know something was wrong, but I had not done the test yet for myself. So I said to my queen, no nuts for 2 weeks. No almonds, no cashews, no pecans, nothing, no walnuts, no nuts, 2 weeks. Okay. So whatever you do with almonds, whatever you do with nuts, I will not eat it. Just keep it for you and for the children. So 2 weeks. But this discomfort was the same. So I said, it's not the nuts. Maybe the beans. All right? No mungo beans. No, there's not much mungos in the US. It's not very common, but you can find it. Anyhow, no pinto beans, the Mexican beans. No kidney beans, yes. No lentils. No garbanzos, yes. No, 2 weeks. The discomfort was the same. So I decided I need to change. Okay, I changed. Now, no rice. No rice for 2 weeks. Yes, no rice. But guess what? The discomfort was the same. It's not the rice. But that's good. I like rice myself. I am like Asian also because Panama eats a lot of rice. So what is next? Soybean. Okay, soybean, no milk, no tofu, no, okay. At that time, I was still eating tofu. I didn't know about all these details. Although it was already GMO at that time, maybe I have been affected by it also. But anyhow, lack of knowledge. I'm in the same room like you, this world. So I said, okay, maybe it was the soy, no, 2 weeks, and no, the same. So I said, okay, this is the next, oats. Finally, I did 2 weeks, no corn. Oh, praise the Lord. No problem. No more problem. Corn out, no pain. I will kneel down, no problems. Great. I have found the one. This is what we call elimination diet. So at the end of that, I said, okay, I cannot eat corn again. Okay, let me do a test. I really like corn also. My queen is Mexican. She makes tortillas. Why, Lord? Why did this happen to me? Why is it going on? Maybe I didn't chew my food properly. I don't know. Maybe the corn tortilla was not cooked properly and the grain is uncooked and maybe I'm doing a reaction in the immune system. Maybe I was eating fast from going to see patients and I'm not obeying the law of health of not eating when you are in a hurry. I don't know. But I said I am going to test it. I will eat corn again. Oh boy. I ate the corn and I had the pain again. I said, okay. I tested it for a few days. I still have the pain, had the pain. I said, oh, okay. Now I'm going to eliminate it. No more corn, 1 week or 2. Let's see. And the pain disappeared. Again. Oh, it's the corn. I'm almost sure. Then I will try it again. I did it 4 times. No corn. No corn. 4 times. All the times when the corn came, the pain came. So I was sure this is an experiment. Sad experiment. I cannot eat corn. So I stopped using corn. No tortillas for me. Oh, what a sacrifice. So one day we went driving to Mexico to see my mother-in-law because she lives in Mexico. And then we got to Mexico and I said to my queen, maybe the corn tortillas in Mexico are different. And the corn here is probably different than the United States. I will try the corn here. And then I did and I have pain. All right, no more corns for me. Now, praise the Lord. We came to the Philippines. I had been off corn, I don't remember how much, maybe 2 years. If I remember right. I had not eaten corn for 2 years and we came to the Philippines. And being here in the Philippines, few months after coming to the Philippines, somebody said, you want some corn? And I looked at my queen and I said, corn. I had actually forgotten about it. Am I going to eat it? I'm in the Philippines. Maybe the Philippines is different. So I started eating the corn. And guess what? Up to today, I can eat corn. Praise the Lord. Of course, I don't eat the yellow corn. I told you already. I don't eat the yellow corn. That's GMO most of the time. It causes infertility in cows and the animals. It's causing cancers in animals and in people. It's not a good thing. So, this is all examples of what happened. You may have heard from some of the presentations, even with the issue that we had with my queen. One day going to the park, birthday of one of my children. Then we were driving, I was driving, she was in the car at the back, taking care of the children and giving them even food because we took the breakfast with us. And when she was doing that, she was kind of irritable because she was just starting after the 3 months eating the banana again. She was all well and she said, I'm going to eat one of those items that I have not been eating for these 3 months and see if I am better. And the one that I want to try is banana. All right, you do. That's what they said. You can try after 3 months and see what happens. But don't try them all in one day, one at a time, and see what happens. So she did try the bananas, and when she was there, she was irritable with the children. I'm sure she was bloated again, but I didn't notice it. She didn't maybe notice it either. And because she was irritable, I said to her, honey, I guess I will take care of the children. You come and drive, because she can drive. She knows how to drive. So I gave her the wheel, and then she came on the board and she was driving. I went back, take care of the children, giving them food, and then suddenly I looked because I noticed the car was not doing well. So I looked to the front and I saw a car coming on the other side, and we were facing the car. She had gone to the other side of the road and the other lane, and we were going to have a collision face to face. So suddenly she woke up, and thank God the other car did not jump into the same way, and she went right, which is the best thing to do according to the driving experiences. You drive on the right side, you don't go to the left side. So the other one goes to the right, you go to the right, nobody will hit. So she did to the right, I don't know, thank God she did it. And when she went, she parked the car and I said, let me drive. Why? Because when she got into the wheel, into the driving, she started to fall asleep because the bananas will give her that effect. And falling asleep, she could not drive. Of course, as I said before, IgG reactions normally do not give you life-threatening symptoms, but this one in specific, being on the car, it is life-threatening, but not in general. They are not those kind of IgE reaction that you cannot breathe and you go to the hospital because you are going to die. So what to do in these cases here in the Philippines? I'm not promoting anybody, but I know there is a lab here that does it. It is costly also, but it's easy. If you don't have money, you have to do the elimination diet that I did. You have to get away something, and I have done it with several people. I tell them, start with soy. Start with soy. Don't use soy for 2 weeks and see what happens. They don't use soy. The menstrual cramps and pains and heavy bleeding goes away. Soybeans? Yes, let me talk about that a lot another time, and you will see. Very much linked to that. So, if you think that you have pain in the joints, maybe peanuts. Oh, peanuts? Oh, yes. You start with peanuts. That's one of the most common ones. Another thing. In my experience, as I discovered this, when somebody has food sensitivity, that food sensitivity is most of the time that item of food that you like the most. Oh, I like so much egg. That's the one. Oh, I like so much peanut. Most of the time, that's the one. Oh, I like mungo beans a lot. Most of the time, that's the one. So think about the ones that you like the most and stop them for a while if you can, if you have the power. And then you will see if you get better or not. Now, you may remember the symptoms that people have when they have immunoglobulin G reactions, or you may want to check them out. They are online. Sometimes you can see them. I have the documents from the immunolab. Of course, I share with my people when they need, so they can also see what the symptoms are, and you can check them out and see. And then you can have a list of food. Now, what they recommend in Florida Laboratory Immunolab, and I do recommend people to do also, is this. You can have what is called a diary. Daily record your food and what you have as a symptom. If you have headache, write it down and then put there what you ate for breakfast, what you ate for lunch, and what you ate for supper. Even if you had a merienda, just write it down. Everything that you did. Now, I'm not going to encourage a merienda, I'm saying just write everything you ate and the symptoms you had. When that happened, you can tell later by examining everyday items of food. Maybe there is a correlation with them. Now, sometimes it's not easy because this. Let's say that you are reacting to 25 food items. 25? Yes. There are some people with 39. So let's say that you have 25 food reactions. You react to calabaza, you react to gabi, and you react to rice. Whoa! Can you imagine if you react to rice? I do have two patients actually in the Philippines that when they eat rice, they have pains on the joints, especially the hands. I have two cases in the Philippines that whenever they eat rice, they have infections in the ear and fungal infections on the feet, especially the unpolished rice. The unpolished rice, doctor? Yes. What is in some of the unpolished rice that is affecting even people that eat unpolished rice? It's most likely the chemicals. I don't believe it's even the unpolished rice. We could be, somebody is different and they may react to the unpolished rice, but I think it's the chemicals in it. Again, God's plan. If you have a place in the country where you can raise your own rice, your own corn, your own soy, your own vegetables and fruit, you will be like kings and queens. If you have avocado trees, if you have mango trees, and no calburo in them, bananas also, you don't have to worry. But if we don't follow God's plan, we will suffer. What are we going to do when all the mangoes in the market will be dipped into calburo? 100%. Which is almost now because, when I go to the market asking, no calburo, calburo, it's almost hard to say that I can find one. So what are we going to do? Suffering is coming more and more and more. We have to learn and we have to follow God's plan. And that's why when I came to the Philippines, I was coming to a country place. I wanted a country place where I can have my family and we can start learning agriculture, because we have to learn before we can actually do it. I don't claim I know agriculture. No, I was never in agricultural school. I did not go to agricultural school. When I came to the Philippines, going to the countryside, I did not know how to do it. But learning a little bit, I thought we have at least what we need for the beginning. So we went forth and continued the plan that God has given us to go in through these things. So what else to do when you have a food reaction that you don't know what to do? You may have skin reaction, you may have toxicity, toxins inside the body, fogginess, and all these things. As I said before, the first thing to do is get some charcoal, put it in water, and drink it. You can even have the charcoal in chunks if you have them, and just chew on them. Now the technique or the trick to do it is this, and I have taught my children this, and they know how. They are expert eating chunks of charcoal that we do at home. Whenever you have a chunk of charcoal, you don't have to have it powder. You can chew on that, but you have to chew it with the mouth open, like that. Why? Because if you chew it with the mouth closed, you can choke. The air with the vapor, with the particles of the charcoal will go to the throat and to the lungs, and you may choke. So don't eat charcoal chunks with the mouth closed. Do it with the mouth open. That way it comes out, the particles that are liberated, and you don't have the problem of choking. Just eat it like that. And it's easy, you can do it. Of course, if you don't have teeth, the best thing will be make it with water and then drink it. But normally what happens is the toxins from the immune reaction to the items will be absorbed by the charcoal in the intestinal tract, and it will lower the effect on the body. So you will be able to feel better by doing that. Next one, you can have a hot compress. You put an enema bag maybe, or a bottle with water, or a towel with hot water, and you put it on the abdominal area for a few hours to help to decrease the inflammation. The other one will be, you can have onion slices. You can cut slices of onion, put it on the abdomen, and keep it there, wrap it, and keep it there for a certain time, and then it will help the inflammation of the abdomen. There are other anti-inflammatory things like castor oil. Castor oil is another anti-inflammatory oil that you can use for the abdomen. You rub it in the abdomen, and then you put a cloth, or you can have it in a path that absorbs the castor oil, and you put it on the abdomen, and then wrap it around to keep it in place, and you may feel better. Sometimes you can also use a little more expensive, but it's also useful. It's cabbage. Cabbage leaves goes into the abdomen. You just get the leaves and put it on the abdomen, 1 or 2 or 3 if it's big, the belly, and you can keep it in place and use it for anti-inflammatory. Now, cabbage is a little more expensive, and it's better actually for joints. I use cabbage for gout, for example, and I use cabbage for joint problems, cartilage damage, but I use onions more for soft tissue. I like them more for soft tissue. The quercetin in onions is better for soft tissue than the cabbage. So I prefer cabbage for bones, cartilage, fractures and skins, and I like onions more for abdomen, bruises, even fever, headaches, and so on, which is basically inflammation of the soft tissue. Even ear, when you have an ear infection, onions is the best. You even warm it up and you put it there. Very good for relieving the pain. Now, that's not the cure. The cure will be putting olive oil or coconut oil with garlic into the ear. Very simple. But those are little things you can do to relieve the problem of the food sensitivity. Now, that's not the cure. The cure really is to avoid the items of food for a little while. It could be for years sometimes. For example, I was away from coconut from Neop 2 years here in the Philippines because I was having foul smell when eating coconut. I don't know why it happened to me. This is all personal experience I share just to people to know that we are not exempt of these things. We suffer in this world because we are still eating coconut from the market. Something may be in the coconuts, maybe, I don't know. But I reacted to the coconuts, or I avoided it for 2 years. Now I'll teach you a technique that is good sometimes to use also to desensitize the immune system from these things. What you can do, and I did it myself with coconut, is I will ask my children whenever we were eating and I was not eating coconut, I will say, give me a piece of your coconut, pieces of coconut, a small piece, not big. And I will ask them, you give me one today. The other child I will ask him the next meal or another day. And another child I will ask another day, so they will not feel that it's not fair. He's asking only the same person. No, I will rotate them. So the next meal, Carmiel, the next meal, Kevin, the next meal, Kayla, or the next time we eat coconut. So I will get the piece on my mouth and chew on it. And after chewing for a little while, I will keep it under my tongue and try to keep it there for a little while. Now, it's tempting and it's difficult to keep it in the mouth, so I will just keep it maybe for 5 minutes. Some people say that it's good to do it for 15 minutes. I did it for 5 minutes most of the time. And then after that, you spit it out. You don't eat it. I never gave it to my children because I didn't want them to feel bad about eating my saliva, so I didn't give it to them back, but I will spit it out and not eat any more of the Neop. When you do that, you are helping your immune system to desensitize. If you want to learn more about it, just go to the Anatomy and Physiology book and learn about the salivary glands and learn about the saliva content and learn about immunoglobulins A. When you learn about that and the physiology of that, you will understand why this technique is good for reversing or helping the immune system to have desensitization. There may be some other things you can do. in regard to food sensitivity, and you may do your own study, but this is what I have for you. And we may talk more about the details, and even if you have food sensitivity, I have many experiences to share with you, many testimonies, even about the people that have done the test here in the Philippines, and you may get the blessing of knowing what is reacting to you. May the Lord help you and bless you as we continue looking for the health that we need for our body. God bless you.
He's Coming Broadcasting Network.